Hello, howdy people, what's up? That is covering my face. Crazy equals genius. Okay, hi there. Hi, Voiceless Sky. Welcome, y'all. I am doing jalapeno popper stuffed mushrooms and mustard greens pasta. And the inspiration for this, not only one is going to be a fridge clean out for myself, but both of these things I was having a dream about last night, and I'm making my dreams come true today. So welcome to Cutting the Mustard. This is my show I do every Thursday night. Welcome, hello there. I have these baby Bellas here that I'm going, oh, thank you for the gift, Voiceless. Thank you, Kaz, for all the rose. I'm just taking a damp paper towel and I'm gonna wipe off my mushrooms first. I have baby Bellas, you can use white mushrooms, whatever mushrooms you got. But we don't want to soak them in water because these things are full of water weight and then they absorb a lot of water too. So, hold on, I'm going to turn down my music just a little bit. There we go. Okay. And so we don't want to soak them in water, we just want to like wipe them off gently. Oh, thank you for the strawberries. Yes, y'all are so great. So even though that's kind of chopped up a little bit, I'm doing that. And so one thing you got to look at when you're stuffing mushrooms is you got to do a pre-roast of the mushrooms first, right? Like, one thing that I have a problem with when I see other people make stuffed mushrooms is that they end up being soggy. Or when someone's serving me mushrooms, sometimes they are soggy. And one of the ways I'm combating that sogginess is by pre-roasting these. And every restaurant I've ever worked at that does stuffed mushrooms, they always roast the mushrooms first as prep, and then they store them in the fridge up to a couple of days before roasting them for service. Welcome everybody. Welcome. I am making jalapeno popper mushrooms. I'm excited about this. I had a craving and I'm fulfilling it, and that's what I'm doing. Thank you. Look at y'all fighting over who gets the gift or badge. Love it. And I'm doing baby Bellas, any mushroom. I had been browsing mushroom recipes to see what other people were doing and what was up with that. And there were people using cremini or white Bella. You do have the option to remove the gills because that is going to give a stronger mushroomy flavor with those. So if you like mushrooms, but like if you're like me where you don't like raw mushrooms, then you might want to remove the gills. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to keep them. Oh, Jay became number 83 member. Right on. Welcome. And y'all, if you've ever watched me work, if you've ever watched me do my show before, you know that I like to save my veggie scraps. I'm saving these mushroom caps, and they are going to be useful for a different dish. Not today, not this show, but I can either make a mushroom stock out of them, or a lot of times people will make stuffed mushrooms and they will dice up the caps and saute those and then put those into their stuffed mushrooms. So for extra stuffed. Mushroom stuffed mushrooms. How's the music and the volume, guys? Is everything okay? Y'all let me know if you have a hearing or have a problem with my hearing, because like I can't see on the other side of the phone, you know? Like I know I can hear myself, but y'all let me know if you experience any issues. Thank you, Cass. I appreciate you. Oh yeah. This is tedious. This is kind of one of those tasks I thought, like, do I need to do this on the show, or can I, like, prep this beforehand? Thank you, Jay. But as I said before with these mushrooms, like, whenever you're stuffing mushrooms, like, if you're planning on an event and you want to do some prep work for that event, you can do this first part beforehand and roast the mushrooms beforehand and then stick them in the fridge, and then the next day you can stuff them and then roast them again. Mushrooms are 92% water. So the first roast that we're doing, we're going to do a first roast without any stuffing in there. And that's going to help get rid of some of that water weight from there. Because we're not making soggy mushrooms today. We're not doing it. I'm not doing it. Like, y'all can make soggy mushrooms if you want, but I'm not doing that. Bab says, love mushrooms. Me too. And thank you for the heart me. Whew. Oh, yeah. You know, a lot of recipes, like, I'd be sure to include, like, hey, be sure you clean it, be sure you wash it. But, like, y'all, most of this stuff comes out of the ground. It either comes out of the ground or it poops, you know? Alright, new rag time. Welcome to the live, y'all. Be sure you're giving me a follow if you haven't seen any of my content. I'm known as the Mustard Queen on this app. My username is Ketchup is Garbage. And I post a lot of mustard content. And I have mustard content for days. I'm not going to run out of mustard content. I also really am known for hating ketchup, which is garbage. And y'all be sure you're giving Food Talk TV a follow. We go live every single day, and we have all sorts of creators in our agency, the FTTV agency. But give Food Talk TV a follow because we do have live shows every day. Thursday nights are my jam. I am considering changing the time on Thursdays, though, because I don't want to compete with the NFL. Also, I have a fantasy team that I'm kind of wanting to not be terrible at. So with my fantasy team, I do have fantasy football, and it's one of those things I don't always 100% pay attention to, but I gotta make sure I don't get last place, because I'm with a bunch of boys, you know. They're expecting me to get last place. Oh yeah, I told Kaz that I'm super awkward without my music, and it's not that I'm, okay, it is that I'm awkward, yes, but I don't know, whenever I'm in the kitchen, I like my music. So, the way TikTok is, though, they only allow, like, 2 voices going on at the time. So, with wiping them, mushrooms, while they are mostly water, they are also really absorbent. They're really absorbent. So, if we were to soak them, then they would absorb a lot of that water. And the first thing I'm doing with these mushrooms is I'm going to stick them in the oven, and I'm trying to get rid of some of that water weight. So I don't want to add more water weight if I'm trying to get rid of that. Now, one of the ways that I will saute mushrooms sometimes, I will, before sauteing mushrooms, is I'll boil them, because they will absorb that water, but you can't overboil them, right? Like, I will let it sit in a pot of water and boil it until it's bone dry, and then it will saute. So mushrooms are weird. We tend to treat them like a vegetable, but they're not a vegetable. They are a fungi. I do have in the recipe to brush these mushrooms with oil. I have this spray thing that I just filled up for this purpose. I don't want to go overboard with that oil because it will absorb the oil. There we go. Okay, just a nice light spraying of the oil. And I'm gonna let those roast for a good, like, 15 minutes. Oh, shoot. I forgot about my bacon almost. So, one of the things I'm gonna be working on, because those are jalapenos, and I'm making jalapeno poppers stuffed mushrooms. So that's my stuffing for that, and jalapeno poppers, the best ones, have bacon. I set mine in the freezer about an hour before this show started, because when your bacon is like slightly frozen, it's not frozen solid, but it's frozen enough, and it's going to be way easier to dice since it's had that time. Ah, here's mine. There we go. Yes, please tap the screens. I sure do appreciate it. Tap, tap, tap the screens. And if you could share the live, it helps Al Gore with his rhythm. Now, if you don't have anyone to share the live to, you can share it to anyone at Food Talk TV, because we just share things left and right. Or you can just copy the link and it tells the app, hey, you're sharing it to someone, but are you really? And of course you can buy bacon bits, or if you have bacon bits prepped, something I do when I'm really into like meal prep is one thing that I'll do when I'm really into meal prep sometimes is just make my own bacon bits, so that way throughout the week. Because bacon bits, once you bake them, or once you make bacon bits, they will be good for up to a week in your fridge. So it's a good thing if you do a lot of food prep. So we're just going to make some bacon bits real quick. These won't take long at all. The freezer trick really does help, because if they're right out of the fridge, they can feel kind of slimy when you're trying to dice them. So I recommend, if you have enough forethought to it, a lot of my tips and tricks in the kitchen, though, involve you to have forethought. Y'all, where are you from? I am genuinely curious on where you're from. I'm filming in Nashville, Tennessee. Let me know where you're from. I kind of want to see how far we get. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Oh, we got Georgia, we got New Jersey, and California in the house. What's up? And because this is a recipe I dreamed of, like I have 6 strips of bacon in here. I don't know once I make my filling if I'm going to use all 6 strips of bacon, but... Oh, you've been to Nashville a few times? How do you like it? Do you have anything you really enjoy? You know, I have a friend, someone that I met over TikTok that I was just having lunch with a few hours ago, and I was asking all those questions, but like, it's just so funny how people who aren't from here will ask me what I enjoy doing. And I'll be like, being in my kitchen and cooking. You want to join? But what they want to know is like all the touristy things I like. Y'all, how's the music volume? Is that okay? Can everyone hear me okay? I know we have mixed feelings about my music, but believe me, I'm awkward without it. I'm awkward with it, but I'm awkward without it. Oh, we got Rhode Island and Los Angeles. We got all over the coasts. I'm gonna need a new one of these. Yes. Oh, why am I letting y'all look at my empty kitchen when y'all can be watching my bacon for me? Don't let it burn, okay? I'm trusting y'all. Don't let it burn. Fix it. Stir it if it burns. How's the bacon doing, y'all? This is a trick that I learned from my friend Ashton. Y'all know Ashton. Where I'm gonna slide these mustard greens through here. I'm working on a different recipe now. I'm gonna wash these real quick first. Is the bacon burning? Ah, thank you for the chocolate covered strawberries. Yes. Oh, these stems are too big for this colander. It's okay. Okay, I appreciate y'all paying attention to that bacon for me while I was working on these mustard greens, because like the stems are part of the reason why they become so bitter and tough. The mustard greens are always so much cheaper than other greens, but they just don't know how to work with it. Thank you, Linda. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this into my food processor I have over here, which I hate the sound of the food processor, so that's why I put it way over here. Happy Thursday. Hello, Jeanette. Hi, Arts. Love you too. Arts, you are amazing. Thank you. Okay, almost done with that. Let's get started on our filling. Oh, let's chop up some jalapenos. I'm going to take a risk here and hope that these aren't too spicy and not wear gloves. Well, thank you. Love you. It's okay if we don't get out all the seeds. Oh yeah, these aren't too spicy. We'll be okay. I mean, I still won't want to rub my eyeballs, but RX does always have beautiful plates. Like, if y'all haven't seen RX's show, you really should. She's on Mondays, sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night. But y'all should be giving us a follow anyway, because we go live every single day. RX on Mondays is really great. Crunchy's on Tuesday. That's always fun. A lot of times I'm in the box for him. We also will have Andrea with Gluten Free Mama on Wednesdays. And then on the Thursday, we have Vicky on Fridays, and she does cupcakes and baking and desserts and all sorts of stuff. She's really talented. On Saturdays, we go across the pond and we see Yorkshire Indian. And then Ashton's currently on a little bit of a hiatus, but we'll be getting her back soon. Of course, if you know Food Talk TV, you know who Ashton is. I don't need to tell you. And then on Sundays, we have Sunday Night Lives, and we'll have Christine or we'll have Kaz, and those are alternating. I'm going to set this aside, possibly, because I'm reserving this bacon grease. If you throw this out, you are a monster. It's probably not smart to do this right over the stove eyes, so do as I say, not as I do, okay? Okay, because we are on a mission to make stuffed mushrooms, but we are not making them soggy, I am going to be sauteing these jalapenos first. And the reason why we are sauteing them first is because, like the mushrooms, I gave these too little time. But just like the mushrooms, they're 92% water, right? So if we were to put these mushrooms in as is, then as they would roast in the oven with the mushrooms, it would leach out water. And then it would get into the mushrooms, leaving you to have soggy mushrooms. We're not doing that. So we're going to let these saute for a little bit on the stove top. So there's a method to my madness. I mean, not always, but I have a little bit of a method. A little bit of oil, that was probably a bit much. We'll be okay. I also have some green onions I want to put in there. I think I put 4 on my recipe online. That's going to be on Food Talk TV. After this live is over with, once I get photos, it will be on the website. And on my recipe, I put 4, but these are really giant, so I think 2 will suffice. But we're separating the whites and the greens because the whites are going to go in the saute, and then the greens are going to be part of our garnish. Alright, you know what? I do want one more white. Now those are green onions that like I thought were dead, but once you put them in water and you just trim them and peel them back and take care of them, then you can bring them back to life. And I do that with a lot of my herbs actually. Basil is one I'll do that a lot, like where you think basil is dead, but you just put it in a thing of water and it ends up being okay. It always makes me feel so powerful when I can bring plants back from the dead. Alright, we're going to put, just let these cook in oil for a little bit. We're just trying to cook some of this water weight out. I don't need it like horribly cooked. I just need some of that water to exit. So that way when I stuff it in the mushrooms, we'll be good. My music is a little loud, okay. You know, I recently started using a microphone, and I think that's one of the reasons why my music appears a lot louder than I used to, because I've always done music on my lives, but I guess this mic is just picking everything up so much better. Yeah. I think I put 4 ounces in my recipe for this, but I'm just going to stick the whole thing in there. All 8 ounces of the cream cheese for our filling. Of course, our bacon.
Hey, Wifey.
Hi there, I am preparing some jalapeno popper stuffed mushrooms, and I am so sorry that someone, you know, I don't know. But I am making jalapeno popper stuffed mushrooms. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and throw these in here, because I don't want them to cook too much, but I did want some of that water out. Trust the process. Oh, speak of the devil. Ah, there we go. And see, like, it is kind of pooling, so I'm going to flip them and dump them and make sure they're not all... I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to finish this and then I'll finish these. About 2 ounces of cheese. We're going to put some more over the top. Me too. I love stuffed mushrooms, but I hate soggy stuffed mushrooms, so we're going to fix that. One thing I am adding to these mushrooms to help prevent our mushrooms from being soggy is some breadcrumbs, and that's really going to help absorb some of that, any of the extra moisture that we get, because we do not want soggy. About a 1/4 cup. You can use panko, you can use oats even, you can use oats. There's all sorts of options you can use here, but I'm just using seasoned Italian breadcrumbs. A little bit of garlic salt. I needed garlic powder and I needed salt, and I have garlic salt, so why not? Okay, I'm going to refer to my recipe because I know I'm forgetting something. Y'all, I'm the mustard queen. How am I forgetting the mustard? That does not cook the mustard. This is Dusseldorf stone ground mustard from Wover's. Now when I'm picking mustard, stone ground is one of my favorites, because when you're doing stone ground mustard, it means that they're using some sort of stoneware to process that mustard rather than any sort of electrical in there. And the flavor of mustard is volatile, meaning that it evaporates quickly. So when they're using stone ground, or when stone ground is in the name, it just means that rather than letting electricity or any sort of metal allow that flavor of mustard to evaporate, they're doing just the old-fashioned methods, and that's one of those things that the old-fashioned way is just the way to do it. Here, I'm gonna let y'all. Oh yes. And honestly, did these need mustard? No. But did I put mustard in there anyway? Yes. And the reason why I justify the mustard in here is that mustard is already pretty seasoned as well, but also it adds that little bit of bitterness, a little bit of like sourness, a little bit of tanginess in there. So that way, it's just a little depth of flavor. Now when you eat these, are you gonna taste the mustard? No. But that depth of flavor does make a difference. There we go. Okay, see what I mean? How it's pooling? You know, I'm gonna get a completely different pan and I'm just gonna transfer. Oh yes. Now, I think in the future, next time I'll have these capside down, so I recommend that. It's okay. Yeah, that is a lot of water, and that's why the pre-prep, like this is why the roastingness is so important here. That's why that first step, because a lot of recipes I was looking at online would just get the mushrooms, clean them, stuff them, and roast them. That's how you get soggy mushrooms. We don't want soggy mushrooms. We want cooked mushrooms that are a right texture. We want that meaty texture. Oh yeah. So watery. See, this is why I really love science in cooking, is like just little tiny changes that you can make to avoid problems. That's why I love cooking science. And even then, I'm gonna get a paper towel and dab these before I stuff them. Yes, I'm roasting the mushrooms first, but then I'm gonna fill it and then bake them again. So these mushrooms are gonna end up getting about 30 to 40 minutes in the oven. But if you are meal prepping this, like let's say you have an event or something, at this point you can store these in the fridge, or at this point you can stuff them and then store them in the fridge and then bake them when you're ready to serve them. So, let's get ready. Ooh, I don't think I have a proper scoop for this. I thought about putting these in a pastry bag. Y'all, we're remodeling, so everything's everywhere. I do have pastry bags, but Ziploc will do. I have made these before. I haven't made this exact recipe before. And you know, while I'm working on recipes that I haven't worked on before. But every restaurant I've ever worked at that serves stuffed mushrooms will do this beforehand. We'll roast the mushrooms first, and then we'll stuff them, and then to order. Like the chain steakhouse I worked at last, they would, stuff them and roast them, and then to serve, they would microwave them, and then they would put them in the broiler real quick for the crispy top. So that's what restaurants do. We're kind of taking a more elevated approach to that. I'm getting my pasta started because I do have some pasta working too. This isn't the only thing I'm making, even though I've let it take 40 minutes of my time. You make mushrooms and balsamic glaze and mushrooms garlic. Ooh, yes. There's so many ways to go about it. There really are. You can get really creative with stuffed mushrooms. And with these, you know, I had removed the caps, and a lot of recipes I saw would also clean the caps and dice these and saute them and then coat them with cream cheese and cheese, so that way you get some of that mushroominess in the mushrooms. What's the worst thing I could say? Probably something bad about my cooking. Okay, yeah. All right. There we go. I should have got... If I had a pastry bag, I would be using that. I just had a little bite of this filling, and it's just so good how the jalapenos are still crunchy, but they're not as watery. Okay, yeah, that didn't work. That didn't work. I'm gonna grab a spoon. Doing the old-fashioned way. Ugh. Crazy how you have things in your head and the way things are gonna go, and then when you get there, it just doesn't. Oh yeah. These mushrooms really did cook down a lot. You know what? I'm using my favorite kitchen tool. I'm sure y'all enjoyed watching me struggle with that, but we are no longer... There we go. Look how quickly that is going. Come on. These will get all nice and melty, so I'm doing overheaping amounts in here because I don't care if this mushroom is just completely smothered in cream cheese and bacon and jalapeno. So, just to recap, some non-negotiables when you are making your own stuffed jalapenos so you don't have a soggy one. You roast the jalapenos first, you roast the mushrooms first, and we don't soak them in water, but we wipe them with a damp paper towel. Another thing we did is we sauteed the veggies before they go in here, because veggies are really high in water, and we don't want them to leach out into the mushrooms and give us a soggy mushroom. We also added breadcrumbs to this. To make them gluten-free, you can add panko. You can also do oats. I don't think oats are naturally, or I think they're naturally gluten-free, but oats are often in facilities that process gluten. So I don't think oats are gluten-free, but you know, some sort of breadcrumb. I've even seen some people just do diced up cubes of bread and stick them in there. Oh yeah, I'm running out of filling, so I'm gonna have to take over all the overstuffed ones. And once we're done stuffing this, if I was doing an event tomorrow for these, then I could just stick them in the fridge, and when I'm ready to have them, I can just stick them in the oven. So this is a great thing to make if you're doing meal prep for an event the next day. Sometimes whenever I'm doing like a dinner party or events, I love having things that I can do as much prep the day before as possible. And this is definitely one of those things. These are jalapeno popper stuffed mushrooms. Inside it's cream cheese. I got some cheddar cheese, jalapenos that I sauteed along with the whites of green onion, and some breadcrumbs. Come on. I'm trying to make it as even as possible, but some of these are going to be cheesier than others. Not all stuffed mushrooms were created equal on this episode. Oh, wow. So yes, there we go. Okay, I'm going to gather them all together. I'm going to separate them back out, but hold on, I got a method to my madness. Yes, recipe will be on the Food Talk TV website. We will need to edit because I put all 8 ounces of the cream cheese in here. There we go. Cheesy goodness. Now, when we bake them, I'm going to separate them because I don't want them to steam too much. I mean, they're going to steam. They still have water weight in them, but we're trying to keep them not soggy. I hate it when I'm served a stuffed mushroom and it's soggy. I hate it. It's just rude. It's not rude. It's okay. All stuffed mushrooms are delicious, even if they're not the perfect texture. We're just trying to listen to science and do what the science tells us. And this is a pan I don't really care about, so I'm fine with all that cheese. And then I'm just going to garnish with a little breadcrumb. I don't think I had this in my recipe, but I think it will really help with any sort of extra moisture. And also, who doesn't like a crispy top? Bam! We're going to see these in a little bit. I'm going to have to set a timer after this because I have my timer for my pasta because we got to continue onward to our other recipe. This is like a mustard green pesto-esque kind of situation. So I have my mustard greens that y'all saw me de-stem and then tore up into pieces. I saw a stem I missed. I'm also cutting it, since mustard greens are going to be a bitter herb. They are really bitter, but it helps to cut it with about ½ cup of Italian parsley. My cheese that's left over, I'm just going to put it in there. We're gonna need the zest of a lemon. Now, if you're using a lemon and you want the flavor of lemon to be in there, may as well use the zest. You already paid for it. Ooh. Ooh. Sometimes I spend the extra money and get the seedless for the lemons. I did not do that, so we're going to make sure we don't get any of the lemons in here. But man, it's always a fun treat to have seedless lemons. Oh, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much, Kaz. Yeah, Kaz is just letting me know that he changed the recipes because these will be on Food Talk TV, and I will take pictures of these for after the show. I am excited about these recipes. My inspiration is not only a fridge clean out, but yeah, it's pretty much a fridge clean out, but also I had dreams about these things last night. Mustard greens, Italian parsley, lemon juice, and I don't feel like I got a lot of lemon juice out of this. But I need acid in here because the acid really helps mustard greens. Here. So just a little splash of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to let this process for a bit. Notice that I did not add salt. I did not add olive oil. I did not add my nuts in here yet. And that's because the flavor of mustard, including in mustard greens, it's a defense mechanism. So when the cell walls break, that's when there is the allyl isothiocyanate. I think in mustard greens it's a different type of isothiocyanate, but that's the sharp, peppery bitterness that you get. And bitterness is a byproduct of that. So the acid is going to help preserve that kind of mustardy kind of taste that we're looking for. The bitterness is going to be a byproduct. And so later on later on when we add walnuts, when we add olive oil, when we add cream cheese, that bitterness is fat soluble. And so it'll absorb that. But right now we need to preserve that heat, because if we just did mustard greens and oil, there would be no flavor here. So, ooh, I did not have that in right. It's okay. I needed a new food processor anyway. I swear, I hate this food processor. Un momento, por favor. There we go. May I bother you for a minute? Oh, you know what? I don't think I need you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that flavor that we just created with that peppery and bitterness, I don't want to put in the oil quite yet. I want it to generate some more of that flavor. So I'm going to let this sit. I also want that acid to lock in any flavor that we did just create. So I'm going to let this sit 5 to 20 minutes on that. If you don't let it sit, it's fine. It's just not going to have as harsh of a mustard flavor, which I'm the mustard queen. I love mustard flavor. If you are not following me, be sure you're giving me a follow. My username is Ketchup is Garbage, but I do a lot of mustard content. In case you didn't just notice, I'm pretty obsessed with it. I'm going to save as much of this pasta water as I can. Some pasta noodles got lost in there. I'll be okay. I'm going to strain it, and I'm going to rinse it, and I'm going to let it sit. Okay. We got about 10 minutes left on our mushrooms. Oh, right on. I'm so excited for these mushrooms, y'all. Now, after that's done with, I'm going to only let that sit for a few minutes because I'm on a live show. I got things to do. You know? I wanted this to be like a pesto-y-esque kind of pasta. I don't have a ton of Parm cheese though, so I'm cutting it with cream cheese today. So I'm not calling this a pesto, but it's pesto-y-esque. Well, today I had lunch with a follower, and that was first time, or the second time third time actually, I've met someone from TikTok that I knew from TikTok, and I met him in real life. That was the third time that's ever happened. So I did that today. So we got some cream cheese. And then I also have about a half cup of walnuts that have been toasted already. If you don't toast them, that's fine, but it's also wrong because once you toast nuts, it's way better. And we got to take a dance break. Okay. But this is my mustard green pasta. Not calling it pesto because I'm breaking some rules here. If I were just doing this on my own time, I would be busy doing a bunch of other things. And I would probably let this sit 20 minutes before I continued this process. But got things to do, and it's okay. This kind of gives you a bit more of a mild flavor, and so it's not going to be as harsh. And I feel like people who aren't obsessed with mustard like I am will probably appreciate this. So about 2 ounces of cream cheese. You know, I think I wanted 4 ounces of cream cheese. As I said, this is a recipe I haven't made before, but I had a dream about it. Mustard, because we got to make sure there's mustard in there. Oh! Yeah, so about 4 ounces cream cheese. I wanted this creamy and pesto-y. Oh, thank you! So, now, when we're doing this, we're also going to have to slowly stream in the olive oil so it emulsifies correctly. And use good olive oil. I personally... Now, what I mean by good olive oil is whenever I buy olive oil, sometimes, like, I'll do a cheap one and an expensive one, right? The cheap one is going to be for cooking applications because it doesn't really matter how good it always matters how good it is. But when you're cooking it, you don't notice the flavor as much as when you're serving it raw. And this is essentially a raw application. So that's what I mean by good. I'm gonna scrape down the sides real quick. Oh yes, this is exactly what I was having dreams about over here. Sorry I have it over here, but like I hate the sound of it when the food processor is too close to the camera, so that's why I'm hiding back. So a half cup of olive oil. Now next up, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of the pasta water. As we're doing it, if we notice it needs to be thinned out, we will add more. But right now we're just doing a 1/4 cup. For now. That looks about right. Another thing I want to point out, thank you, Kaz. Another thing I want to point out that this is hot. I would not add hot liquid to mustard greens without acid in there unless I completely want to lose all that flavor and bitterness. That's why we cook the hell out of bitter greens, so you get rid of that bitterness with the heat. I want some of that mustard flavor in here, but the bitterness is going to be absorbed by the olive oil, the walnuts, and the cream cheese. If your sauce isn't thin enough, that's when you're gonna add more pasta water. So that's why I try to reserve a cup of it, but I think a quarter cup is gonna be great for this. Y'all, I'm so excited. There we go. If y'all watch my show, I'm on live every Thursday night, and if you watch my show, then you know that like I'm kind of scrambling all over the place because my husband is remodeling the kitchen. And if you want to know when it's going to be done, okay. Also in my mind with this pasta salad, I'm kind of imagining this being like a pasta salad-esque thing, where I'm okay with it being served warm, but I would prefer it to be served cold. Any pasta of your choice. I thought about using spaghetti, but this is like I used this last time for my pasta salad, but it's Tudle. Oh, I gotta look at the package. I gotta dig in the trash can real quick. Hold on. It's Durham wheat, and it's called Trottole, if you're interested in that. But like, this is my favorite pasta shape now because it has all these curves that suck in all the sauce, but it's also nice and hearty, so you get pasta. So I highly recommend that. If you see it, give it a try. Okay. And let's see if I made enough pasta sauce. I was also thinking that this would also make a really good dip. Like, rather than having like a spinach dip, like this would just also be good with crackers. I don't even need the pasta. But also I needed to cook dinner tonight, so. Dang, I really don't have to make much edits to this recipe. I wrote this recipe after the dream I had, but this is like perfect. This is exactly what I was dreaming about. Can I try it? I do need to try it. It's bright, it's green, it's fresh. The creaminess in there is everything. Love it. I am a giant fan of this, y'all. I don't know what if I could have dreams every Wednesday night before I do this show, could that please happen? I need to have these dreams because this just came to me and I love it. And this is also kind of one of those pasta recipes too, where like if you have cherry tomatoes, if I had cherry tomatoes, I would still be throwing them in here. So kind of pesto-esque, but not quite. I don't mean to sound so surprised, but I did just kind of go off of what my subconscious mind was thinking with this. And I still have some lemon zest. And then a little bit of fresh ground pepper. Y'all, I am so stoked for this. I really am. Husband! I don't know where he is. Perfect timing. Y'all! I did not time this out on purpose. I am just that good. Y'all. Y'all. They smell amazing. These recipes are going to be on the Food Talk TV website, foodtalktv.com. Please go check those out. But I am really satisfied with this. This is what I was dreaming of. Literally what I was dreaming of. I am so thrilled with these. Here, I'm going to clean up my space so I can... Oh yeah, and like you notice with these, I'm going to show y'all them on the sheet again, but notice how there's no water on the pan. And I didn't spray these down with oil or anything before doing the second roast. I just let it roast like this. All those things I did, please check out the Food Talk TV recipe on there. Even if you don't make this recipe verbatim, I do have those tips that I shared on here as well. Yes. Oh yes, these mushrooms are still pretty meaty. They are the perfect canvas for this jalapeno popper-ness. Here, I'm going to try and just get the pretty ones for the photo op. Little crispy cheese. I got parsley, so why not garnish it? Hey. This is my title. Whenever you're sprinkling something like parsley or salt or whatever, that's why we do it above, so that way you get more of a even spread over that. Oh, my mushrooms, y'all. Indeed. Okay, yeah, I said that and then I just heard. I'm so funny sometimes. Do as I say, not as I do. Give the plate a good old rim job. Full recipe will be on the Food Talk TV website. I am so satisfied. foodtalktv.com. Where's that pasta again? This is the mustard green pasta. Kind of like mustard green pesto, but through cream cheese and all sorts of stuff in there as well. I'm pretty satisfied. And Kaz, look! I'm only 5 minutes after 8. Look at that. Look at that. Well, y'all, I think I've done all I can do here. Thank you so much. Be sure you're giving me a follow. My username is ketchupIsGarbage, and I do a lot of mustard content, but also a lot of food content. Be sure you're following Food Talk TV, because we go live every single day, and there's a different creator each day. I'm on Thursday nights. Thank y'all so much for joining me on my show, which is called Cutting the Mustard, and I will see y'all next Thursday. Thank you for the gifts and everything, too. Mwah. Love you. Happy mustarding.